この番組は
Hey guys, before I get into the video, I just want to let you know if you're interested in a site where you can find more digital manga and light novels, you can go to a site called Bookwalker where they constantly add more titles to their collections. And if you don't know where to start, there'll be a link to a few titles I've recommended myself. So if you guys want, you can check it out and also use the code AKIDEARS for $5 off your purchase. There's only 1,000 of these coupons, so grab it while you still can. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hey friends, it's AKIDEARS. This is gonna be more of like a really chilled out video on my channel. So I was fixing up my bookshelf here in the studio, and I've taken pretty much all of the manga, all of the doujins, and art books out from where they originally were. And you know what? I figured I'd just show you guys some of my favorites, some of which I've already introduced in past videos, and then some of which you've only seen in like the background of my videos, and a lot of which I have never even shown you guys. So hopefully, by the end of this video, I might just open up your mind to a whole new world. Or you know, just judge me if you think I have shit taste. But yeah, I never really show manga on this channel. There's a lot more in my room on the bookshelf, so everything in here is just gonna be stuff that's from this studio. As you guys can also tell from the channel, I don't really review that much. So where should I begin? Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so I guess the first manga that I want to show you guys, Satoshi Kon's Opus. Some of you may be familiar with Satoshi Kon. He made like Paranoia Agent, Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress. He really dives into the world of like psychological thrillers and mystery in a lot of his stories. So I bought Opus right before I went to Japan, and I was reading it on the airplane, and this is very, very meta. To get a better grasp on how I can really review this is to show you guys some of the first couple of pages. So as you guys can see from the beginning of the story, this is all just line art, so it looks like that the artist never really completed it. And at first, you know, I thought it was just gonna keep that way, but then it actually goes into the manga being shown like drawn on a piece of paper, and then it finally goes into the story of the author like in the progress of actually drawing it. So to put it shortly, this story is about a manga artist who creates a story where the characters also seem to interact with him, and they start trying to get in like these debates or politics of how he's controlling their lives in the story. But then it kind of later on in the story goes into question if there is probably somebody controlling our lives. So the author's like then sucked into his own story, and once he kind of passes through breaking like the barrier of reality and whatever the hell world he created, then it starts breaking the barriers between not only the author and his own characters, but then also you, the reader, and also the author of Opus, Satoshi Kon. I showed this to my friend, and we both agree that the fact that Satoshi Kon went on hiatus with this sort of actually works with the story, and let alone on top of that, his death, with all the questions that it built up, it sort of leaves it at that. Again, this is super meta. It's very hard for me to explain, but if you guys are into psychological stuff and you're a fan of Satoshi Kon, I would definitely pick this up because it's going to mess with your mind a bit. So we'll just put that off to the side. Next one. Oh god, this one. I have never shown this one. I bought this and I wanted to review it so badly. The reason I didn't review this is because it is so difficult to read. This is called Utsubota, the story of a novelist. I am telling you guys, this manga is very, very strange. I will honestly applaud you if you actually understand this on the first go, because I need to give this a second read just because of how difficult it was. Also, it's starring me, Aki. See, look, there's me on the first page trying to commit suicide. Alright, so there's an author and he tries to create a story called Utsubota, while at the same time the other part of the story is himself and also some detectives trying to figure out the identity of Aki and what was going on and why she probably committed suicide. What first caught my eye was the artwork. So these are actually twins. That's supposed to be Aki. So here's an example right now. As you can see, what they do with the artwork is they don't really add too much detail to the back. It's all like line work, but they put a lot of boldness to like the focus of the entire picture. Now there are sex scenes. This is, as it says on the back, 18 and up. There's a lot of sex scenes in here, but it's not really drawn or explained in a way where it's supposed to like emphasize like sex, like the whole hot or beauty of it. More so of how gross, how empty it can be, and how meaningless it also can be. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch upon about this manga is not only is it difficult to read, like, comprehending wise, but also with the speech bubbles, and there is some translating problems in here. The author really likes to jump around between the past, present, and future without any warning whatsoever, so it made that also a little bit more difficult to read, but as it was progressing, I sort of got what he was trying to do. But again, I'm going to have to read this again. Now, just because I said it was difficult to read and that it was weird, do I think that it's bad, or do I give it a thumbs up? I would say yes, it actually is a really good manga. You just need to really pay attention. If you are really experienced in comprehending very vague and a lot of symbolism and connections between characters, then just consider this as a challenge. But I will read this again when my brain has the time. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys a manga that I don't like. I know, right? Why do I have it? It was the first time I just wanted to spontaneously buy something without even looking at the summary. And it is called What Did You Eat Yesterday? So this is yaoi, this is BL, but my god was this boring. I can see why some people would like it though. My biggest criticism is that more than half of this book is one of the characters just listing ingredients and then how to cook something. Unless you're like really into culinary or you're patient enough to just look past that and just like look at their story as lovers, it really didn't stick out to me that much, honestly. But what is the story about? Well, it's slice of life and it's just about two boyfriends and one of them is just a taste tester for his cooking. That's pretty much like that's pretty much it. Now, that being said, that brings me actually a really good opportunity to show you guys Sweetness and Lightning. Now, this is the Japanese version, but this is also the English version that I got from Loot Crate. So I bought this one in Akihabara, and this one is about a father and a daughter who sort of it's really just all cooking in each and every episode, and it's also slice of life. Now, the difference between this one and What Did You Eat Yesterday is that this one is actually using culinary to explain to the characters of their past and their connection to their mother, who was also a cook. So each time that they try a different dish, they're given a different memory, and that is like the beauty of the slice of life in this story. Whereas with this one, honestly, it was like reading an entire table conversation to me. But this one uses culinary in a more heartwarming sense. By the way, if you guys are wondering why I have the Japanese version and the English version, that's just kind of like how I like to practice some Japanese. But What Did You Eat Yesterday? I don't really recommend it. But if you guys like it, feel free to explain that in the comment section down below. There's actually some manga in here that I haven't even gotten the chance to read yet. Like, for example, Arpeggio. I got this from the Loot Crate box as well. And also Tropic of the Sea, which I also bought with Opus. I just haven't gotten around to these, but these will be on my list in case if you guys are wondering. Next! This one is so cute. This is called Love at 14, and a lot of you guys have been tweeting me to ask me, have I read this yet? And yes, but only the first volume. I haven't really brought myself to continue on with it, but from what I read in the first volume, it's a really cute romance story, and also kind of going into the whole life of growing up and just exploring yourself and each other and getting interested in the opposite sex. So these kids are known to be the most popular kids in school because they're very mature for their age, and that comes off as attractive to everyone else because not everyone else is acting that way. But once school lets out, they finally allow themselves to now act like the way a 14-year-old should be. Once they find love interest in each other, the true selves of them actually blossom, and so you get to see them actually acting like their true age, which is 14. It's cute, it's simplistic, it kind of brings you back to the days of when you had your first high school crush, or your first high school love, which could have been good or it could have been terrible. Either way, we've all had that experience. And even if you haven't been in a relationship, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have had at least one crush, and it felt like the most mind-effing thing in your entire life. It's like the ultimate, like, notice me. I was really brought back to my adolescent days with this story. So, what's next? Citrus! I saw this on the bookstore, and when I not only did the front like captivate me, but also the back when it says, for fans of Girlfriends and Strawberry Panic. I am a fan of both of those stories. So as you guys can see, Citrus is a Yuri manga, and it's definitely one of the more intimate Yuri that I have seen. And by intimate, I mean like physically and sexually intimate. Now that's obviously not like the core of the entire story, but it plays a much bigger role in here than I've seen in other stories of Yuri. Oh, like for example, I just turned to a page and well, there you go. I'm making sure that they were wearing clothes. The story itself, it's actually pretty similar to Strawberry Panic, the whole all-girls school, new girl comes in and then she has an infatuation with like the lead, or like in Strawberry Panic they call like the top-notch person the étoile. It's the student in charge of everything. And then they find out that they're stepsisters, but they have like this really weird physical and emotional attraction to one another. So it's sort of incest, but not not really. It really just took a lot of things that can create a lot of shock value and put it in here. And for those of you that haven't heard, this is actually getting an anime, so pick this up. The next one I'm going to introduce you guys to The God's Lie. I introduced this story so long ago. This was a very, very brilliant one-shot story. Now, as you can see, the kids are holding hands, and yes, there is romance in it, but it ever so just kind of glosses over that. What's really interesting is actually this girl in her own private life. The fact that she actually lives alone with her brother, and it's really just the two of them. And as the story progresses, you start to be unveiled to why they're alone and why things are struggling, and the story behind it, and when you get to the end, is so heartbreaking. But this guy actually comes into her life and sort of tries to help her deal with things by just helping her around the house, figuring out what she needs to get done. He doesn't really ask her about her past too much. He knows that things are bad for them just by looking where they live, looking at their current situation. He knows that it's none of his business to really get into her personal life. So the most that he can do is just to care for her and just kind of be there for her to help around the house. Cause I forgot how old they are. 6th grade, which in Japan, I don't know how old that is. And already having to take care of yourself, it's rough. So out of all of these that I push the most, I would probably say The God's Lie. So for the next thing, again, another artist that I have introduced in past videos, Inyo Asano. I have Oyasumi Punpun and I have A Girl on the Shore. I have Oyasumi Punpun and A Girl on the Shore. For those of you that are familiar with me ranting about this guy, I think you guys can tell that I have grown a big infatuation with this guy's style. So because I've already said it already, I'll just quickly gloss over it. He goes over very, very, very dark topics. Kind of going back what I was talking about with love at 14. When you're growing up, you're noticing the opposite sex. You're starting to kind of trying to make your own identity in the world, or trying to find your place in social stats, I guess, in school or in life as you grow up. With these stories, it goes into the more darker side of that. Learning rejection, making mistakes, doing things impulsively. And to these stories, almost to the extremes. And after finishing these stories, the one message I can really take away from here: children and adults in a way are kind of no different. Although it goes through the stages of when you're growing up and you're making all these mistakes, you're going to continue making mistakes even as an adult. You're gonna do a lot of stupid stuff no matter how old you are. Being an adult does not make you impervious to mistakes. Being an adult is just this age where you can finally be allowed to do things. I'm gonna wrap this up pretty quickly, but I just want to quickly show you guys things that I actually got in Japan, which I know it's like super late now, but I got like a crap ton of art books. So like here's one. It has this nice little frosting cover for it, and it's by Misato Mitsumi Illustrations. I mean, there's really not much to say with art books. I mean, it's really just there to kind of just bask in this artist skill, really. Here's another art book, and on the back, this was actually a project. So if you want to check this artist out, here's the link. Oh, I didn't even notice that it had this. It has like this little holographic print in it. A lot of stylized chibi art and a lot of Toho. Look, it's so cute. And here's the last art book that I wanted to show you guys. Oh, I can't show that. Oh yeah, and there's the name in case you guys want to look them up. And there you go. Here's just some samples that I can show you guys. And for the doujins, but I've got Amelia, my personal best girl Beatrice, I suppose. And then you guys can just like see in there, row 500. For those of you familiar with the Kantai collection, if you want to know my favorite character is row 500. Her story is probably just the most adorable. Some Rem and Ram. I got a lot of ReZero ones. I mean, when you see like a whole shelf of like 1,000 of these, you just tend to go, I'm just gonna show the top of this. More Kantai collection. And it's in color. Oh man, and then this one. This is I think it's called like the Shrine of the Tentacle. It was so weird. I want to review it, but I'm not supposed to say anything on the YouTubes. Okay, I'll just put it this way. There's a girl that goes to the shrine and wants like the all-time magical powers and to be ranked up by the gods. But in order to do that, she must prove herself worthy by eating as much spaghetti as she can. Alright guys, so I know this was a long effing video. Again, this was more chilled out. If you guys have stayed up until the end, I'm surprised. And I hope you guys enjoyed this very long and chilled out video. So I appreciate you guys for watching, and subscribe to my channel for more anime and otaku related content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!